I had a total of 3 different experiences on Facebook dating starting from January of 2025. Why did I install this? I don't know. You know, I had heard horror stories, but I was genuinely curious. My curiosity often gets the best of me, and I'm of the belief always try everything once. So I'm like, why not just see what's out there on the free dating app known as Facebook Dating, where it links your personal Facebook with like a separate dating profile. And oh boy, do I have a couple different stories for you. Now, in most of my content, I don't talk about this type of personal stuff. I don't really talk about the things that I experience in the day-to-day life, but things are changing here on my YouTube channel. I post whatever I want when I feel like it, and I talk about whatever. So this is what you get. So Facebook dating. I have a total of 3 different stories we're going to go down today, and I'll save the worst one for last. Within the first 24 hours of installing Facebook dating, I was like, you know what? Let's go through this. Let's do the superficial thing where we like somebody or we don't like somebody, right? And out of, I think, I maybe did 20 minutes of just swiping, right? Within less than 24 hours, I got up the next morning, checked my Facebook dating app, and oh my god, I had a gazillion matches. I was actually quite shocked. I have more matches than any other app I've ever used where I paid for things. I was enamored. I was like, whoa, there's a lot of people. A lot of people also liked me back. And I'm just like, okay, wow, what a boost of temporary confidence, you know? That's how those apps work. But, so I matched with this particular person, and she was a nerdy person. Let's call her Sandra, okay? Sandra was very, very, very nerdy, and that was my number one thing. I'm like, okay, we have a lot of things in common. We do video games. She likes Legos. She does, whatever. And so we started talking. We talked for a couple days. I got her number, and then we planned to meet up. And then right before we were supposed to meet up, about a day and a half before our date that we were supposed to go on, she says, hey, Daniel, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, oh no, where's this gonna go? I don't have a car. Okay, cool. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal for me. But if you go back to my videos, a couple days ago, the one on boundaries, I say this now, not having a car isn't a big deal to me, and it really isn't. I don't really care that all too much. But in the realm of dating, it makes things a little complicated when you, as the person with a car, I have to be the person to initiate everything, and I always have to go out of my way for somebody. Okay, there's a point where in boundaries that I've learned this year is that I have to draw a line in the sand when it comes to people. Because I come from a place of people pleasing, where I always want to make people happy. I always want to do the right thing. But to my dismay, it always ends up blasting another toe off. I actually don't have any toes left. So sorry, feet people out there. They're all blasted. They're gone. I am tired of always having to be the person to go out of my way for everybody else. Nobody ever goes out of their way for me. So it's just like I get burnt out quickly, right? But it was whatever. She said, they don't have a car. I said, okay, I'll come pick you up. No worries, not a big deal. And she's like, really? You'll come pick me up? I'm like, absolutely. It's not that big a deal. You don't live that far away from me. So let's do it. I'll pick you up. We'll go to the arcade, blah, 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 blah. Picked her up. Great first impressions. She was really, really shy, but in the car we talked before we got to the arcade, and she loves video games. Her favorite game was Ocarina of Time, grew up with Legend of Zelda, you know, a lot of just generic nerd shit compatibility stuff. And it was a great first date. I mean, we went out to eat. We went to an arcade. It wasn't anything special. I drove her and dropped her off back at her house, and that was that. Really, really nothing spectacular, but it was a great conversation, right? That was the first person I met off Facebook dating. And so I was like, hey, let's plan a second date. Do you want to hang out? I invited her over to my place. I said, let me cook dinner for you. And let's just see how the night goes. She said, absolutely. And then she's like, hey, can I ask you, I have a serious question. I'm like, oh no. What's this going to be? She's like, can I bring my dog over? I'm like, absolutely. My dog gets along with other dogs. So she brought her dog over. She came over to my place. I cooked her dinner. We had great conversation. And then after dinner, it was around 7 or 8. I asked her, do you want me to go drop you off home or would you like to spend the night? Because that is how I typically do things. I like to give people an option. Hey, do you want to go home? If you have someplace to be, that's fine by me. But like, you want to sleep over? You want to sleep over? And she gave it some thought. And she said yes. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Her dog slept in my bed with my dog, and we slept in the bed. But before we even made it to bed, though, she told me she was on her period, and that's absolutely fine. Like, it genuinely does not bother me. And I told her absolutely, because I know what she was implying. She's like, I don't want to have intercourse or do anything, when you're on your period. And most women don't. Most guys don't. So it wasn't that big of a deal, right? When I invite somebody over into my home, right, I try to make people very, 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 very comfortable. That is my number one thing, is my apartment. And I know this is such a cringe term, but my apartment is my safe space. This is where I come home to work. This is where I come home to decompress. So if I let you into my home, it's never going to be a place where anybody feels like they need to be something that they're not, or to do something that they're not interested or comfortable doing. And typically in all prior dates and relationships and just getting to know people out in general in the dating world, I always offer them, I'm like, hey, do you want to spend the night or do you want to go home? Right? I feel like that really just gives it gives people the space to think about what they want. And it gives a no pressure type of, dynamic where, because I hear these stories of like men or women, and it happens to men and women, where somebody invites somebody over and then they want specifically to sleep with them. And that's fine if you want to sleep with somebody, but like to create the pressure of like, oh, I want you to sleep over, and like, I'm going to be pissed at you if you don't sleep over, right? Or get something out of it. I just feel like that's nobody wants to be in that situation. I've been in that situation myself. And it was not comfy. And I know other women and other men have been in those situations themselves, right? And you just don't actually really want to sleep over or spend the night at somebody's house, but they really kind of feel like they're pressuring you, and you're really like, no, I don't really want to, but you also want to say yes because you don't want them to get mad at you. You know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? That next morning, right, we were watching, what were we watching? Buffy the Vampire, which is like, I love that show, right? I've only seen the first 2 seasons, but we watched Buffy, and then I could tell the vibe was a little off that morning, right? And she was very, very like not cuddly, or like not, I don't know. She was kind of like this, right? This was how she was in the morning. And I was like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then she got really, really, she's like, I have something I need to tell you. And I'm like, okay. And my heart was like, oh man, what's she gonna drop on me, right? Like, she has 25 children or something. I don't know why. I don't know. And I'm getting my anxiety kind of spikes up. I'm like, because the way, it's just her vibe was off that morning. And she says to me that she has HSV2, which also is known as genital herpes. And I was like, oh. Now, when she told me this, I was like, okay, I really need to think about what I'm going to say and how I'm going to react to this, because I'm sure that this person has had a lot of bad reactions. Like, I don't know how people react when somebody says, hey, I have an actual STD. I don't know. But I'm assuming it's really not a great thing. And I have never been in a situation where I've had somebody actually sit down with me and say, hey, I have genital herpes, HSV2. So when she told me that, I just kind of, I hesitated for a moment, and then I asked her, what does that look like for you, and how does that work? Like, can you explain it to me, is essentially what I asked her. And the first thing she said to me, she's like, you're not mad? I'm like, well, for one, we didn't do anything, so no. Obviously, if I found out after the fact, then yes, I would be livid and angry. But like, you are being an adult right now, and you're telling me that you have this thing, and it clearly is a thing that you need to disclose to people. You need to disclose to people if you have an STD, all right? You need to do that from a legal standpoint and ethical and a moral and all that stuff. Just, you need to do what that girl did. And I asked her about it because, like, I'm not super educated on HSV2. And she explained that you can only contract it when they have an outbreak, and she hasn't had an outbreak in like 4.5 years, and she's had this for over 10 years. We were the same age. She was like 35, and I'm 33. And I was like, okay, interesting. And she's like, I totally understand if you don't want to hang out or have me sleep over again, because that's a deal breaker for a lot of people. And I was like, you know what? Just give me some time to process this. I'll think about it, and I'll get back to you, right? That afternoon, take her dog, my dog, drop her off at her place, and that was that. And then we had a little bit of conversation. I inquired in text. I asked her more about, HSV2, because I genuinely didn't know, and she gave me a bunch of information, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not really comfortable being involved with somebody physically at all that has that. Because I'm clean and I've never had anything, and I don't want to deal with the anxiety of like I have to wear a condom for the rest of my life type of deal, right? Like, I just, I don't know. I don't want to risk it, and I'm just not comfortable with it. And she was very, what did she say? You know what? Let me actually pull it up, what she said. Said, thank you so much for a wonderful time. I really appreciate the fact that you made me feel so safe in your space. Thank you. So that was that. And that when we went on our ways, nothing too crazy, right? She did hit me up, wanted to hang out a couple weeks later, and I'm just like, the problem is, like, you're cool and all, but I have to drive to you and pick you up every single time. I'm sorry. Like, you're 35, you don't have a car, you don't have a job, and you're living with your roommate, with your dog, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I need a little, it's too much. I'm sorry, it's too much for me. You gotta get your life together type of situation. I'm sorry, like, that's just the reality of the situation. So the first person I met off Facebook had an STD. So number 2, and this, I'm going to be honest with this. This was kind of like my first, what do they call it? A pity screw, but I didn't screw them in the literal sense. And I'll explain what I mean. So I matched with somebody. I don't care for the most part. I don't care about people's weight. I just don't care. I have preferences. I prefer thicker anyway, but this person I matched with, they're a little on the heavier side, and that was fine. I didn't really care. I don't judge people for the most part. Unless you're on 700-pound life, I'm not going to judge you, right? But we talked a little bit. I drove to her place. Same issue. She didn't have a car. Okay, and she was 38. Okay, so I don't know what it is about people on Facebook dating. I don't know if that's just the norm is like no one on Facebook dating has cars. Maybe that's the fact that we're on a free dating app, right? But it's, again, this person lived close, so it was whatever. She did disclose to me that she was heavier, and I saw her photos, right? But here's the reality. In the day and age of AI and people photoshopping things and people using filters, you can mask a lot of things. So when I was thinking maybe like 250 pounds, 300 pounds, this person was, God, I feel like an asshole saying this, but this person barely fit in my car. Okay. So I rolled up there, and this person barely fit, and my seat was all the way back. I drive a 2000 Honda Accord, which are actually kind of pretty spacey. And this person like barely fit in my car, the passenger side seat. And when I pulled up, there was a part of me that's like, man, I should just drive by the house and like not even, oh man, like it crossed my mind, right? But I'm like, dude, I'm not like that. That's not who I am as a person. I'm not going to be that superficial and petty. Maybe this person hasn't went on a date in a long time. I don't know. So I was like, I pulled on the driveway. I'm like, hey, and I opened the door for her. I let her in the car. We went out to eat, and to her credit, incredible conversationalist. Really good at talking. We talked about movies and hobbies and things that we're into. And then this is the first date. Right off the bat, she's up and direct and transparent, which is what I prefer. I prefer direct and transparent, but also it's like, man, there's some things on first dates I'm not sure that you should really tell people. The term trauma dumping is a thing, and I do believe that you can trauma dump unintentionally, right? And that kind of happened because right off the bat, she's like, yeah, I don't have a car because I lost my car. I lost my house because of substance abuse, substance addiction. I'm like, okay. And then I asked, I'm super non-judgmental when I'm asking about this stuff because I have family in that area. I really, people go sober, people get clean, people are capable of change and growth and progress and right? Like, I'm of that belief. But this person was like, oh, it's been like 2 months. And that for me is too early, right? Like, being clean for a month or two is just too. I need, if you're sober or you're clean for maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years, right? That's different. But we're talking somebody fresh out of recovery and who also has a gambling issue. So a substance abuse issue, a gambling issue, and it's hard when people just like dump that on you, right? And great conversationalist, but it was what it was. It is what it is. She invited me back to her place, right? And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. She wanted to watch. We had a conversation about Bigfoot. And she wanted to show me this movie. Like, she was super ecstatic about showing me this Bigfoot movie. It was her favorite movie. So she invites me over. I go over to her place. We finish eating. I drive back to her place. I walk in the door, and her roommate, who is like, he looked like he was at least. Well, actually, I don't even know which one was the roommate. I don't know if the girl was the roommate or the guy was the roommate. I don't know. But there was this couple on the couch, and I walked in. She introduced me to them. Let's call the person I'm doing with Sarah. Okay, so Sarah introduces me to her friend, and the guy made some weird comment to me. He's like, "Oh, you're a youngin." I was like, "What? I'm only in the 1950s." She likes them young. I was just like, "What?" And we proceeded back to her back bedroom. Like, okay, this is already really weird. And then I started questioning, like, is she really 38? I think she was older than 38, honestly, now that I think of it. I don't know, but whatever. She turns on this Bigfoot movie. It was a horrible movie. I'm talking, like, I looked up, I don't remember what it was. It was some, like, there was only 2 actors in this movie, but she was like, during the whole date, she was bolstering how good this movie was. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't believe in Bigfoot, but I'm willing to have my mind changed. She's like, this movie's going to change the way you view Bigfoot. It was atrocious. I was so goddamn bored watching this movie. It had like a 1.2 rating on Internet Movie Database, had 2 actors in the whole thing, and it ended with these people screaming in a tent. I don't remember what it was. Honestly, I wish I had been on shrooms. It probably would have been far more entertaining. Doggy, I love you too, but I'm filming right now. I just took you potty literally before filming this. She knows that I'm giving the camera attention right now. Anyways, but when we were watching, hello, Mama has an appearance. Mama has an appearance. I also have food on. Stop. Come on. Go. Sorry. Distractions. ADHD. What was I saying? I'm trying not to edit these videos or very, 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 very small, minuscule editing. So we were on the bed, just sitting next to each other, cuddled up a little bit, right? And when we were watching the Bigfoot movie, I I've never had this happen ever. I've never had somebody. So like in normal situations, like if you're going to have intercourse with someone, typically like you put your hand on their thigh or you're rubbing their leg, or like there's more type of sensual touching, right? During this movie, she puts her hand on my thigh, right? And starts doing this. Actually, no, that like flicking. She does this. Hear that? So not like this or anything. It's like a flick, like you're flicking a fly, right? Or you're like throwing something. And internally, my brain was screaming, and I was trying not to laugh because I'm like, I have never been touched this way. Anyone in my life. It's still, it's like, what do I have a fly on me? What are you doing here? And eventually I just stopped. I grabbed her hand and I'm like, okay, this is not working. And I turned over, and you start doing what people do, right? I kissed this person, and immediately upon kissing them, why did I don't understand, dude. She deadpan looks at me after I kiss, and there's another situation almost similar to this. She looks at me and she says, I haven't had sex in over 6 months. And I just started kissing this person and immediately turned off. And here's the thing about me. If I'm getting aroused, if I'm getting in the mood, right, and we get some sensual things going on, for the love of God, don't stop people and just say like an outlandish statement like, I haven't had sex in 6 months. Why would you do that? Because I'm the type of person, when I'm hyper focusing and I'm getting in the mood, man, I'm getting in that mood. If you break that, with the exception of like if you tell me to stop or something, but like if you just break it with some like, I haven't had sex in 6 months, instant turn off. Instant. Like I was like, what? And I sat back a little bit. I sat back a little bit when she said that, and I'm like, okay. And then she like grabbed me and started like kissing my neck, and I couldn't stop thinking about what she was saying, which is another, with the next story is almost identical to this, but different. And this is something that happens with me. It's like when people say something like that, especially when you're getting in the jiggy mood for intercourse, it throws me off. Because like, one, it wasn't something that was funny. It's just like, and now I'm thinking like, why hasn't she had sex in 6 months? I don't know. Like, why would you tell me that? I don't know. I was not aroused at all. I was turned off. And then I'm turned off. She tries to get me aroused, does nothing, because I'm turned off. She then says to me, you can do I'll let you do anything you want. I kid you not. She said, I will let you do anything you want to me. And I looked at her, I'm like, and I felt really bad. I did. I felt really, really bad because she could see that I was not aroused and everything she was doing was not working to get me aroused. And I'm just like, I started to feel bad. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm clearly not going to get off here. So I'm going to do Finger Blast 5000. 5 minutes. She did a shiver. I succeeded. That was all. You know, hands can do an amazing work if you know what you're doing. That's all I'm going to say. And we had a conversation about it. She's like, yeah, I'd love to hang out again. And I'm like, yeah, me too. And then we just kind of went. And that was that. That was it. It was very awkward, a little weird. I felt really bad for her. I made the person climax. So at the end of the day, I'm glad they felt. But when I got home, they texted me, and the text that they sent me, and I will always remember this, and they're like, I have never been touched that way before by any man. That's what she said. And I know people are going to be like, you're making this up. I'm not. That's what they said to me. And I was like, okay, I don't know how to respond to that. That's cool. But like, we're not going to be a good match because you can barely take 2 steps up a flight of stairs. And I know that I sound like an asshole for saying that. And maybe I am an asshole for saying that. But the reality is, if you are to a weight where if you can't walk up like 2 steps of stairs, man, because of your weight, I'm sorry, I can't date you. There's a point. There's a line in the sand you have to draw. There is a weight that is too much for me, and then it's unhealthy. And if I can't do activities with you, then it's just not going to work out. And I already can hear the comments. People are going to be like, you're so mean right now. This is the reality, okay? Welcome to dating. Sometimes you have to draw boundaries with people, and you have to be like, hey, it's not going to work because of X, Y, and Z. Now, did I tell her that? Did I say I'm not going to go on a date with you because you're too heavy? No, I didn't say that, right? There's a way to do dating without being an asshole to people. And it was fine, right? It is what it is. That was date 2. Date 3, and this is the ultra, and you know what? I'm going to take the brunt of the responsibility for this because I'm going to admit I had the opportunity to do my first booty call. Now, I am not typically I'm not usually into hookups, but this particular week, I kind of broke that rule because I was like, you know what? I am really, I got a lot going on, and I need to get some of my angst out. That's the best way I can describe this in a PG-13 fashion without being demonetized here on YouTube, because YouTube doesn't like this type of conversation. What I'm talking about, the subject matter. So I matched with somebody on Facebook dating. She's really cute. She immediately messages me first, which I absolutely love when people do that. And she was like, hey, have you ever had intercourse in that certain cosplay suit? Because I cosplay a lot, for those of you who don't know. And I'm like, no, but you want to be my first, right? It was really kind of just like, and she was like, oh yeah, let's do it. Added her on Snapchat, or she added me on Snapchat, started talking. We talked for about 2.5 weeks on Snapchat before she's like, hey, I'd like to meet up. And let's do some, in PG fashion, let's do the coitus, as they like to call it from a scientific perspective. Let's do the coitus and bring your suit. And I'm like, hell yeah. Nothing like some quality cosplay jiggy, right? So I go over to her place. Thankfully, she has a car, but I drive over to her place, and immediately, immediately, she was the shortest person I've ever seen in my life. Like, she wasn't so short that she qualified as, I know this is not the politically correct term, but I don't really give a shit, midget, a short person, small person, whatever, right? Like, she wasn't that short, but I'm 5'10", and she came up to like maybe just like, okay, from expand, like I'm standing here, right? She came up to maybe like here, okay? So like under my titties, right? So super short. It's fine, but I didn't expect him to be that short. With absolutely massive badonkadonks, like bobs bigger than their actual physique. I don't know how evolution works sometimes, but my God, does evolution have a sense of humor? Because it just, from a proportion standpoint, it's just like, man, you are a small, short person, and you got 50-pound cannons on both sides. Like, man, you must have back problems. That's all I could think about. But so I go into her house, we eat, we have an actually wonderful conversation for almost 3.5 hours. She also had a new puppy, and this is on me because I was horny. That's the reality. And I wanted to get laid. And it's just plain and simple. The dog, she has a puppy, poops and pees on the carpet right next to the couch that we're sitting on talking. We're just talking, right? We're talking about life, the way we grew up, blah, 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 what people talk about. And this was a red flag that I ignored because that's my biggest character quality is loving to ignore red flags, right? But actually, no, I gotta back up. So before I even met her, we had a conversation on Snapchat. And in this conversation on Snapchat, she said to me that we were talking about like our kinks and stuff. And she said that she is not really into foreplay. And I asked her, like, what do you mean you're not into foreplay? She's like, well, foreplay is important. And I know a lot of people have to have foreplay, but I prefer just to get right into the raw action. That's what she said, the raw action. So just like you rip off your clothes and you're in it, right? There's no anything. There's no foreplay. There's no buildup. There's no nothing. It's raw, right? So I'm like, okay. And I told her, I'm like, well, I got to have a little bit of foreplay. I'm like, I'm into foreplay a lot. I think I have to. I'm not a light switch. I'm not an on and off light switch. It just doesn't work that way. I'm a man, all right? I wish it was an on and off light switch, but it doesn't always work that way. So with that in mind, anyways, we're on the couch. Dog poops in front of me. It's a puppy. She has the back door open with the grass. And I was like, hey, your dog just pooped on the carpet. And I'm like, hey, if you're trying to potty train your dog, and I said this so casually and like super polite. I'm like, if you're trying to potty train your dog, if you every hour, 30 minutes, just take them out, put them outside, it'll force them to go to the bathroom, and it's a really easy way to get animals potty trained. She snaps back. She's like, I don't need you to tell me how to train my dog. I've been a dog trainer. I've been training dogs for years. I know how to train a dog. And I was just, I kind of like, whoa, where did that aggression come from? I don't know where that came from. I don't know why you're being snappy with me, but I ignored it because that's what I do the best. I love ignoring red flags. I should have, the red flag was, I don't like foreplay. That should have been the red flag. But guess what? Me being the person I am, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to disregard what I think or what I feel about something because what's boundaries, right? Right. So, anyway, the night gets to nighttime. It was around 10 o'clock at night, and she's like, hey, let's go up to my bedroom. You know, you're going to sleep over. And I'm like, hell yeah. You know, I have my little backpack. I got my full get up, my cosplay suit, everything, and I'm ready, right? We get up to her bedroom, and first things first, she turns on music, which is fine. I don't mind music, but it was really, really loud music. And I'm talking like it was some heavy metal, which I love some heavy metal, don't get me wrong, but it's like too loud, okay? And look, I'm on the spectrum. I'm neurodivergent. And sounds, believe it or not, actually do, but I do have sensory issues with extremely loud sounds. These sounds can be music, it can be people screaming, it can be high-pitched screaming. That's why typically when I go to bars, I like chill bars that are kind of quiet and just relaxed. I really do struggle with loud, screaming, obnoxious noises. When I go to concerts, I always got to bring earplugs because concerts are typically too loud for me and it gives me a headache. And I literally cannot focus. I cannot focus, hyperfixate. I can't not focus when I have a loud, piercing sound affecting me. It's not going to work, right? So the music was really, it was loud, but it was not so loud that I was taking me out of the zone, right? So I go out in the bathroom, I brush my teeth, right? I walk out there, I drop my clothes. She's on the bed, completely naked. I jump on the bed very aggressively. I jump on top of her. I place my hand on her neck, and the first thing I do is I kiss her on the lips, right? Normal generic thing. You kiss someone. I swear to God, 4 to 5 kisses in, she kissed me back, and then I moved to her neck to kiss her neck. This was less than 5 kisses and within less than 60 seconds. In less than 60 seconds, this woman, as I'm kissing her neck, stops me, pushes me up, and says, I kid you not. I cannot make this shit up. She looks at me deadpan with her eyes, and she says, I feel like you're getting all the pleasure, and I'm not. I was speechless. I did not know what to say. Like, what? I feel like you're getting all the pleasure and I'm not. So immediately when she said that, me stunned, I'm like, oh, okay. I immediately went down to do some, you know, what's a term? Some, yeah, okay. I went down to do that. And she stopped me and she's like, actually, no, I don't want you to do that. Lay down, right? So she turns me over. She gets on top of me. And all I could think about was what she just said. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what did I do wrong, right? Like, I'm kissing this person. Like, typically kissing is part of, like, the arousal, or like you get worked up, right? I was half hard when I kissed her. I wasn't even fully ready. And when she said that to me, I lost it. Meaning I'm turned off. Immediate turn off. So she's on top of me and she's trying everything. I actually feel bad. She was trying everything. She tried grinding on me. She tried a sloppy toppy. She tried everything. And little Samson was decided to become non-existent. I became a woman that day. Okay. That's the reality. I did not have a penis. I was that turned off. Because I couldn't get it out of my head. Like, what she just said. Like, I couldn't... Like, if she had just said stop, or, like, I don't want you to do that, or something, that would have been fine. But, like, she literally said, you're getting all the pleasure, and I'm not. And all I could think in that moment is, okay, I want to try to... Look, I like... God, this sounds... I can't believe I'm saying this on the internet, but whatever. I don't care. I like to please people, okay? That's the reality. I like to make people feel really, really good. And I hyper-focus a lot when I do it. So there's certain things that I think that I'm pretty mediocre at, right? And then, so she stopped me doing from that, and then she tried to get on top of me, and then reverse it, and then tried to give me pleasure, and it did nothing. Absolutely nothing. So it got to the point where I stopped. I said to her, I'm like, I need you to stop. This is not working. I got up, put my clothes on, and I'm like, I'm sorry. This is just, I'm too turned off. I told her that. I'm like, I'm turned off from what you said. And she's like, what did I say that was wrong? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't want to have this conversation, right? This is the fact that you don't know what you said. And like, oh my Lord. I was like, you know what? This is not working. I packed my bag. I got my clothes on. I'm like, and then one of the things I was saying, she's like, I'm sorry. Penises are just so weird sometimes. Penises are just so weird. Like, what? Do you not understand? Whatever, right? I left with no hug. I went downstairs. I walked out the door. I said bye. She said bye. And that was that. So that was my 3 Facebook experiences. First one wasn't really that bad, honestly, with the exception of having no car and having to, you know, initiate every single thing. Second one, super awkward, definitely not compatible when it got to the bedroom type of deal. And then the third, well, that was the worst of them all. And I am going to tell this story for the rest of my days. And that was a situation that was kind of deserved because she wanted a booty call. I wanted a booty call. But clearly we were not aligned in the sun and then in the moon because things did not work out the way that I had hoped or planned. So I guess the lesson here is probably don't try Facebook dating because you're going to have some really disastrous interactions. And as a woman, I would imagine, or a man, would probably be even worse. I don't know. I would avoid it at all costs. I still have my profile on there for the lulz, because I am seeking human connection with people right now. That is why I'm casually dating. I'm seeking human connection with people in all forms. I don't really care what form it is. So I have it, but since those 3 instances, and that instance, the last one was February, was in March of 2025. I have not met anybody on there since. And it will have to take a special someone for me to even go on a date through Facebook dating again. But we'll see, right? I'm an open individual. I'm open to anything happening. But yeah, so there you have it. Facebook dating 101. Those were my experiences. If you enjoyed this video, thank you for clicking. Thank you for watching all the way through. Support the sponsor of the channel today. Every single video, Vance Global, use code REPSION for 50% off. They specialize in CBD and certain products I can't say on here, but they help you with sleep, anxiety. You're struggling with depression, these will potentially, maybe will help you. It's a wonderful product. They have a lot of different variety. They have certain products that are even biodegradable. It's very significant, and they're wonderful. They treat me wonderfully. They treat you wonderfully. Great customer service, and it's affordable. So use code REPSION on checkout, vanceglobal.com, for free shipping, and they'll ship to all 50 states. Until next time, deuces, and I'll see you guys next week, this week, next week. I don't know. You know, this is actually kind of crazy to me, because I've never in like the last couple years ever made this many videos in a week's time. So consider yourself very, very lucky. Until next time, also Discord open for 50 slots, link down below. Yeah. Peace. Deuces.